Friend, come with me all the way to Australia in this episode. This is such a great reminder episode that business takes time. Space doesn't have to be huge to still speak volume and provide incredible services. Plus, last but not least, how to provide safe and effective whitening and to talk to the patient about whitening. So making sure patients understand the process, but not making it too complicated. So dive on in, get that notepad out, especially at the end. Nat's going to give us a mic drop of how to stay out of your head and keep moving through your entrepreneurial journey. So this chat, we actually had to film twice. So there might be some references that Nat and I talk about that you're like, wait a second, you didn't talk about that. And it's just because this is our second filming. We filmed such a great first episode, and unfortunately the audio wasn't as good as I thought. So we had to refilm it. So don't get me wrong. This episode is just as great, if not better. I wish we could mash the two together. Honestly, Nat and I could talk forever. But here is the second episode, and I hope you love it as much as I loved filming it. Please check out Bear Smiles. And if you are ever in Australia, you need to go here. And also follow along for what Nat's doing. And we're going to talk about her comprehensive approach and really the different vibe that she's bringing to the dental community. I think she's definitely onto something, and I hope we see a lot more of this, or that Nat pops up there everywhere. I guess we'll see what happens. So friend, let's dive into this episode of Whitening Wednesday, all the way in Australia. If you are a teeth whitening or tooth gem specialist, this is the podcast for you. My name's Rach, and I am the industry leader of all things teeth entrepreneurship. Together, let's learn from real-life experiences to must-have brands on how to take your business to the next level and leave that 9-to-5. Friend, welcome to Whitening Wednesday, and I'm so glad you are here. Let's build a safe industry together. Friend, if you offer teeth whitening services and you haven't tried Fern Whitening Supplies yet, please ask yourself why. Fern literally is your one-stop shop for all things chairside teeth whitening. If you need the thickest gingival barrier on the market that's easy to not only apply but remove, Fern has it. If you need face wipes that smell so good and are going to alleviate that gross saliva feeling after you remove a retractor, guess what? Fern has it. And of course, if you need the best high quality, low sensitivity chairside gel that is going to change the way you provide a service, not only in time frame, but also in expectation of results, then of course, Fern has it. Follow along at Fern, www.fernwhiteningsupplies.ca, and don't forget to use discount code WW10 for 10% off your first order. Let's dive in with the show. Whitening Wednesday. Today we are going all the way to Australia, and we're teaming up with Nat, the owner and founder of Bear Smiles. So Nat, we are so excited to be here. Well, I mean, I wish we were in Australia right now, but we're not. But you are.
Mm-hmm. And the weather is shining bright today.
Oh, so jealous.
We're excited.
Right? So Nat, tell us, what is Bear Smiles and where did the idea come from?
Bear Smiles Dental is a practice that we launched last year in August. The concept for Bear Smiles was I wanted to create a safe space, a safe, inclusive, smile positive space for my patients to come on in, feeling absolutely welcomed, invited, in their trackies, even in their pajamas if they wanted to. But I wanted them to know that we had a space that put our patients' health as a priority above all, above cosmetic options that they might be interested in. For us, we wanted to create a setting and an environment and fill the gap of focusing on conservative dental and making there all about conservative dentistry. Of course, we are a little bit cheeky sometimes. We do say in all of our website and our theme that we do offer babes who are looking for a little bit more, which we love. It's quite a quirky concept, and we did that intentionally because we wanted it to be approachable. As I said, we're quite a down to earth, comfortable, luxury dental practice. We do have those cutting edge pieces of technology, but we don't put the focus on that. At the end of the day, it's the patient experience that matters the most. So it's really great to see our community, other oral health therapists, other dental practitioners and dentists being really excited about our concept because it is quite fresh and they can see what we're going for, which is fantastic. And the market is moving towards that way, being a sustainable approach, not only in the products that we choose to promote in dentistry, but also your health. So our motto is creating smiles that glow on as you go on, which is quite smart, I like to think. And yeah, our patients love it, which is great. It's always a positive.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, your space is beautiful and you're growing so quickly. Like, it's so exciting to see.
Thank
Like,
you.
tell us, did you kind of think of this due to some bad experiences, maybe growing up in the dental industry? Or was it something while you were in school, it just came to mind? Like, what happened?
Yeah, like the dental community is really small, as you know, Rachel, and we do tend to talk about our personal experiences and share them with each other. And there is a few cases where there are treatment options being presented where we feel something else might be a little bit more appropriate for the patient when it comes to preserving your smile for the long run. Of course, you know, we do have fantastic specialists out there who are doing brilliant jobs in the field, but for us, we don't want a 28-year-old or a 30-year-old patient with relatively good smile. They might just have mild gingivitis, but they'll approach a specialist, like an implant specialist, and be like, I want implants, like 4 to 4, let's do it. And, you know, majority of the time we've heard like those specialists won't do it, which is fantastic because it's an ethical approach to the patient's care. But of course, there is that small percentage that might do it. I know the marketing side of dentistry, you know, it is very appealing, which is fantastic, but we have to remember why we're in this field and why we're doing what we're doing. So for me, I had a fantastic dentist who managed my oral health when I was younger and referred me on to an orthodontist. So I did have orthodontics, and that's been very beneficial to my oral health and oral hygiene as well. But from then on, I think that kind of set the tone for what I wanted to do as a career and also my perspective on dentistry and dental practitioners. It's really important. Like we have kiddie patients all the time that come in and I'm like, okay, this is your first dental experience. We have to set a good impression. We have to make it really approachable and comfortable and fun. And it sticks with you. It sticks with you into adulthood. And who knows, you know, one of those young kids might end up being a dentist, which is fantastic, or another practitioner in our field. So yeah, for us, it is a personal experience thing. It's what we hear about. It's what we talk about amongst professionals. So I'm just excited to be honing in on that area of conservative dentistry. And it is, as I said, starting to pick up a little bit more in popularity and in discussion. But yeah, we're all super excited about it. We've definitely been growing quite a bit, which is great. We had our first patient from what I know of who's found us on Instagram today, which is great. And there's probably been a few more. So yeah.
That's such a cool story to hear about, full circle moments. And I think it's also so valuable that you're saying it's not just about the experience intraorally, but also externally, right? Like you want the environment to be comforting. You want to make sure that patients, you had pretty much said the last time we spoke, you pretty much want to treat the patients like a bestie. You want them to feel
Yes.
comfortable with you. and your team. And you just want everything from start to finish to be an experience, a comfortable experience. And that's so important for not only dental, but any service based business, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's on par. Very, very, very true. The patients, if they see someone else enjoying the experience online, they want to be a part of it. They want to join in. And that's exactly what's happened this morning. And we were very excited to have her in. And a lot of the time, because they do see that experience, they go, you know what, I want to be posted as well. And of course, it's really important that let's engage in this topic. If you do choose to post your patients for any marketing purposes, let them sign a consent form. It's really important. But yeah, as I said, the comfortability factor, they want to be a part of what you're selling, which is conservative, fun, dental bestie, down to earth dental. It's very approachable. Patients are on board.
Absolutely. And so glad that you threw in that little side note because that is extremely important, right? That needs to be signed off on 1,000%. Now, when we're talking about our dentistry from a friendly approach, non invasive, of course, there's one topic, which is our favorite topic, teeth whitening.
Yes. It's one of our favorite treatments.
Right? So tell us, I know it's perfect. We can see in behind you the whitening bar. Tell us about the whitening bar and how you thought of it.
Okay, so our whitening bar is designed a little bit differently from what you would expect to see at a regular dental practice. So with our whitening bar, we wanted to create a separate section that just focused on whitening. It was all about lounge. We've got the electric laying back seats. We've got the music playing in the reception that just echoes on through to the whitening lounge and makes it a very relaxing atmosphere. We've got the incense, incense is going. We've got 3 whitening chairs that do lay back. Our patients can rest their legs on the little lower portion that does lift up, which is fantastic. A lot of them like to kick their shoes off, and we're completely okay with that. Yeah. We wanted to create a separate environment for our whitening because at the end of the day, we're trying to move it away from that clinical setting. We're trying to make it a very relaxing and approachable setting, as we were speaking about. Whitening is definitely one of our most popular treatments. A lot of our patients who have mild to moderate staining, we usually recommend an express teeth whitening for, and those with severe, we usually recommend the ultimate or the max, which is just a few more rounds of whitening. Now, before all of our whitening sessions, if you're a whitening tech or a practitioner, we usually do like a quick exam of what we're looking at in the mouth before we're applying any gels, just to make sure that everything looks healthy or fair. The oral hygiene's in place, the gums aren't too severely inflamed, there's no active cavities or tooth decay going on that we're applying things on. And if there is, just letting the patient know what you do see and then continuing on around that area. We've got 3 chairs, as we mentioned. As I said, yeah, we just wanted to move it away from clinical setting. Those chairs were very hard to find in Australia, so we had to outsource some of our furniture and some of our products. But that's just because I'm very passionate about that area: atmosphere, environment, design, interior decor. You definitely don't have to go above and beyond as long as you have a really cute set from IKEA or something like that. Honestly, patients love it. You just have to show that you've put passion towards it and you want to be there and you know what you like and you know what you're going for and it inspires you. As long as your space inspires you, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. So remind us that you had said that your space isn't that large. So
yeah.
Tell us exactly how you thought up of taking this quote unquote tinier space and then still just being able to like make it flow so well. Like it's so crazy that you can really make any space speak volumes as long as you plan and you have a vision.
Absolutely. Correct. Yeah, in the beginning, if you do have 4 walls that you're starting with, just make sure you put the things that mean the most to you at the top of the list and be okay with letting the things at the bottom of the list go, because there were a lot of concepts that we had that we wanted to include in our practice that we just didn't have space for. So you have to be realistic, but also that's why I'm saying prioritize what means the most to you. Plan ahead, look at those different furniture pieces or plants or flowers, decor, the curvature of your walls. what can you actually do for your space, and just be okay with compromising where you can. And as I mentioned, we follow a few whitening brands and service-based businesses in Melbourne that are doing whitening. And it's the tiniest little room, but they've made the most out of their space and they've lit it up incredibly. And it's just so aesthetically beautiful. And you know that they're sticking to what their brand means and what it's about. So you know when you walk in there, you're going to get that experience from that service-based provider. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. And we love supporting brands like that because it's very unique and we know they have something special to bring to the table.
Absolutely.
It's not just another business. It's very unique.
Yes. And I feel like the outside exterior also speaks to your service as well, right? Like, I don't want to say better, but the more that you're approachable in a most aesthetically pleasing area, the more likely you're going to get traffic into it as well, right? Like,
it sparks curiosity. Naturally, it sparks curiosity. Patients want to know what you're about and what you're providing. And we've had, even through our renovations, we've had people stop by and ask us what it's about. And we're glad because it shows that it shines through and we're doing what we need to. They'll walk in and be like, so what do you guys do? And, you know, we can have that conversation with them. That's all you need. You just need curiosity, a spark of curiosity. And that's your opportunity. That's your opportunity.
Oh, I love that. So let's go back to whitening. As you know, that's our jam. Yeah. That's our favorite thing. So you had mentioned that you do an express treatment and then like an ultimate treatment. Now, I know Pola is beyond popular in Australia. I swear that's all that's over there.
Yes.
Tell us, like, when you talk about the different rounds, are you talking about you're doing lower amounts in one session, or are you saying that like an ultimate treatment would be they would come back for a second set, or is everything being done in one chair sitting?
For us, everything is done in one sitting for that appointment. So with whitening, we like to break it down. It's a very, very broad area. Yes, Pola is what we use. That's 38% because we are registered health professionals, so we can use the 38. However, we do also stock 6% and 9.5. A lot of our patients don't tend to need the 38%. However, in our practice, we do like to provide an express whitening service. So that's like the touch-up, someone with mild to moderate staining. It's a very customized. We do 2 rounds of 15 minutes using the 38% for that one. For somebody who's got severe staining, very yellowish teeth, especially along the gum line, we like to do 4 rounds of 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how they cope and how they tolerate, because 38% can be quite high. And that's why I tend to prefer using a lower percentage, 9.5 or 6%, and then doing it over a few sessions. For me, that's a preferred, and that's based on personal experience. You don't necessarily need the highest percentage to produce beautiful, amazing, aesthetically pleasing, dream smile results. You can definitely do it over a couple more appointments. And it works. So just being patient with the result and letting your patient know that results do take time, especially with whitening, and you'd rather do it safely than all at once and then be uncomfortable about it or scare them off, because whitening can be a little bit invasive and does cause sensitivity. And sometimes patients get a little bit turned off after the first initial session. So just saying patience is key when it comes to whitening. Results take time to develop.
Yes, that's incredible that you mentioned that. And I mean, in a perfect world, low and slow, absolutely, right? Like that is the most clinically studied, and results driven is the lower you go and the slower is going to be the ultimate shade in 30 plus days. Like we're talking really low, really slow. But as we know, patients this day and age, it's going to be so hard to get someone to do something like that, right? So I love
straight away. They just want like results first session. But you have to remember, is it health first, or is it an unrealistic expectation that we're trying to encourage? We're definitely trying to put our patients' health first. And I hope that that would be the answer that everyone chooses. And, you know, I've not had a single patient that's turned around and said to me, oh, well, actually, no, like I'd rather be extremely sensitive and it hurt. All patients are really understanding. You just have to make sure that you know what happens if they go through with this and let them know and what you'd prefer to do. And if you confidently approach that and you inform them, they're very appreciative. And they'll take your advice. You're the expert at the end of the day. You're the expert who's managing their health. You're the expert who's managing their teeth whitening service. They'll trust you.
Yes. And I feel like you and your team are probably so great at explaining exactly how whitening works. And
Absolutely.
that, it is more of a teeth lightening than a whitening. And it really is a slow over time. Or if you are going to do a quick, like a higher percentages, then you have to be ready for the cons, you could say, almost the cons to it.
But learning your product behavior is my number one. Whatever you choose to stock in your practice, please understand not only from a sustainability factor on what this brand stands for or what they're choosing to do, but what they choose to include in their product and how it works down to the biological level. We want to know what's happening, and patients will ask. I've had a few patients that ask, so how does whitening actually work? It's good to know your product. You definitely don't want to be put in a position where you're like, oh, I'm not sure. It just lifts stains. It lifts stains. Yes, that is technically true. But if you add a little bit more information in there, they'll know everything about that product, how it works. And if anything goes wrong, you know how to treat it.
Absolutely. And it's
management is key.
Yes. Walking that fine line of like not throwing out to them all the fancy terms of like dentin tubules or like oxidization, the pulp inflammation, that kind of stuff. Like, don't go crazy terminology, but definitely break it down. Think of, as we chatted, chat with them like a bestie, where it's give them the information on how it works, but don't overdo
it.
Yeah.
1.5 sentences max. 1 sentence, 1.5 sentences max. But yeah, just keep it simple as well. Don't overdo the words or confusion. General patients won't understand things like dental tubules, and sometimes even peroxide. They don't fully know what that is. It's a type of bleach. But yeah, it's very, very important at the end of the day. Just understand your product. 1.5 sentences. How does it work? Aftercare is more important than anything, as well as behaviors that patients do during the treatment. So don't lick your teeth, for example. Continue to swallow every 10 to 15 seconds. We've recently just implemented the whole staying away from water, sips of water at least half an hour to 1 hour before treatment. I found that patients who drink a lot of water are very hydrated and they get a bit more pooling. So we try to avoid that to keep the area a little bit more dry, and then afterwards they can have as much water as they like. It just makes it a lot more of a seamless experience. But as you mentioned, this actually brings up a point. Our whitening bar doesn't have a suction system. We've adapted to using brushes, and that's because I'm experienced in that area. My staff are trained to do that. We pretty much, when we're doing changeovers, we just grab the gauze and a brush and we sweep it off and then we wipe it down. If a patient's really struggling with hypersalivation, then we'll get them in the chair. And in that case, you can also get little portable suction units as well to put in your whitening bar. I've seen that before in practices, which is really smart. But use what you've got and use what you're comfortable with. You definitely don't have to do the whole whitening lounge experience if you don't know how to manage it. Please do something that you can manage.
Absolutely. Yes. And great point that you mentioned, you don't need a suction, but if you do have a client that is salivating a lot, then you're going to have to either have a backup plan or know how to deal with that in the moment, right? Like Absolutely. It is going to be patient by patient, but that is such a great reminder that you can really do whitening safe and effectively in a variety of different environments. So,
of course, yeah. Just learning how to manage it. And that's why it's important to attend that course or attend that masterclass that someone's offering who has been in the industry for some time, because when things do go a little bit haywire, it's just important to know how to deal with it, because the patient's trusting you at the end of the day. They want to know exactly what you're going to do if something does happen, which is important. You have to stay calm for the patient to stay calm.
Absolutely. And Nat, the fact that you just kind of mentioned like a hot topic that you probably didn't even know that you mentioned was there's a lot of uneducated technicians in this space, educators that have taught technicians that patients should drink as much water as possible prior to a session so that their tooth doesn't get sensitive. So I can imagine that. I love that you had mentioned more so from a saliva standpoint, but
Yeah.
I know personally my thoughts, and I know you're thinking the same thing, is your tooth doesn't hold water like a bank, right? It doesn't make sense. It's not going to stop the tooth from being sensitive.
There's products for that. We personally use Soothe, which is a hydrating gel that comes with our polar kits. And I know there's fantastic whitening technicians and products out there and brands out there that provide something like a hydrating gel for that tooth. Water is not the best hydration method for a tooth to prevent sensitivity. That's not going to happen. You've got to look for something like a Soothe gel that contains potassium nitrate or some remineralizing factors that can just numb those nerve endings and maybe fill in those dentinal tubules as we spoke about. So there's definitely a fantastic range of products out there, but no, water's not one of them to help. It's actually going to I personally believe it makes it a little bit more of a challenging experience for the patient because they will start salivating. You'll start seeing it, and that's when things go haywire. So that's why I think for us, we're talking based off personal experience. Go for the soothing gel.
And I don't know about you, but I personally, if you told me to drink a ton of water prior to, there's no way I could sit through that appointment without having to go pee. So
that too. That's a good point.
Right? So
absolutely.
A mixture of intraoral and extraoral of one, that's not the best idea. But Nat, you are so great. And I mean, so many helpful tips and tricks. Your space is beyond beautiful. And I know you're going to rock it out in Australia. So tell us, what would you recommend for anyone listening who's either thinking about starting a business or in the grind right now and is just, struggling or feels frustrated? What's something that you wish you could tell a fellow tech as a business tip or a whitening tip or just any tip you think would be great to hear that you feel like you need to tell yourself all the time?
Yeah, I love that last bit. I always remind myself when things get a little bit challenging, just remember there are 1,000,001 services out there, 1,000,001 people or more doing that service that you're passionate about doing, the business that you're passionate about starting. But none of them, or not all, a very small majority might not be doing it the way you want to do it. So you might have that really, really special idea. Just because it's whitening, it doesn't mean you can't find a very niche market or a niche demographic that actually would be interested in that product. One you just have to be a little bit creative with your thoughts, do your research. And one that's on the top of my mind is someone who has braces, right? There's always staining around the brackets. That could be a target audience that you choose to reach out to, whitening for braces, whatever it might be. Or as we've done, focusing on that conservative dental factor. So there are, of course, so many dental practices around the world, but I feel like we're bringing it across very uniquely and we're honing in on that comfort, approachable, conservative dental approach, which is fantastic. And yeah, it's something that's inspiring other practitioners and other brand owners, which is beautiful and so nice to see. We can't wait to see where this goes personally. And you have to be patient with yourself. I think I've watched a video of yours, but Rachel, when you said starting a business is like going back to the start of a university degree. It's like your first year. It's so true. You're at the bottom of another mountain that you need to climb. You're just establishing yourself. I've heard so many people reassure me that they've taken 2, 3, 4 years to fully establish their clientele. That's what I'm bringing it back to. That's realistic. A business doesn't just explode in the first year. And if it does, fantastic, great for you. But majority of the time, it does take patience. And go back to your foundation of what inspired you to start this business in the first place. Don't forget that. Please don't forget that, because everyone has something special to offer, and don't let what anyone else is doing discourage you. stick to what makes you passionate and what sparks your curiosity. That's what I would say.
Nat, that is such a mic drop. That was so good. Oh,
it's coming
so
from
good.
the heart, because I know that, we're still there. We're still in our first year. And if that's going to help anybody, then it's from the heart, for myself and everyone out there. Please just go back to what makes you passionate and what sparks your curiosity, and remind yourself what that little thing that makes you special in the field is, and offer it to people. Just share the love.
Absolutely. So where can we follow along and continue to share the love towards you?
Yes. Thank you for asking. We are on TikTok, and we're also on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. It's Bare Smiles, BareSmiles. And we just launched our website as well, like 2 to 3 weeks ago. Yes, we're really excited about that. And it gives us more of an opportunity to showcase all the treatments that we provide and our customers' experiences. And it's just all fun. It's all fun. So please feel free to check us out on www.baresmiles.com or any of our social media platforms, and reach out if you have any questions.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thanks so much, Nat. This was so lovely. And listeners, we will catch you again next week for another episode.
Thanks, Rachel. Bye, guys.